Two people get into a moral disagreement around someone not doing something. Bob is not washing their hands with soap before preparing food others will eat. Anna thinks that Bob is lacking in solidarity with those they cook for, as they believe that not washing hands with soap risks exposing others to sickness. Bob, on the other hand, does not think they are lacking in solidarity with those they cook for. Bob believes that all they need to do is wash their hands in water and make sure their hands look clean to their eyes before cooking. Bob also views Anna's belief that Bob should be washing their hands with soap as Anna violating solidarity with Bob, as Anna is trying to force Bob to act in a certain way. Anna states their disagreement with Bob is due to believing in the germ theory of disease. Bob not washing their hands with soap means that Bob is handling food in a way that can transmit harmful germs to those who eat Bob's cooking. Making someone sick by infecting them without their consent is violating their bodily autonomy or equality of self-determination, and cooking in a way that exposes others to harmful germs is generally not having solidarity with those who eat your cooking. Bob does not believe in the germ theory of disease. Instead, they believe that sickness is spread via bad air that comes from sick people. Bob does agree that getting someone sick without their consent is a violation of bodily autonomy, but as Bob does not believe in the germ theory of disease, all Bob thinks they have to do is clean their hands of things they can see, like dirt and grass, before cooking food for others. So, who is morally right in this situation? Well, that depends on who is factually correct. If Anna is correct that germs are real and can be killed or mitigated by using soap, then Anna is right in saying that someone who is cooking for others needs to wash their hands with soap thoroughly, as doing otherwise is to lack solidarity with others. If Bob is correct in that germs are not real and that sickness is spread by bad air, then Bob is right in saying that Anna is trying to needlessly impose an action onto Bob, which would be Anna lacking solidarity and seeking to become an authority. The moral claims being made by Anna and Bob are dependent on their claims about the universe, so in order to work out which of Anna and Bob is in the moral right and wrong, understanding how reality functions is needed. I think the example of Anna and Bob shows how factual claims about reality affect moral claims. What is factually correct and incorrect influences what is morally right and wrong. Someone who believes that fossil fuels are destroying the planet is going to form moral values around the use of fossil fuels that are different to someone who thinks they cause no harm. Someone who thinks vaccines are useful for reducing disease is going to have different moral beliefs about their use to someone who thinks vaccines are part of some grand deep state conspiracy. Someone who believes that a book has been inspired by divine influence and that the claims in that book need to be taken seriously is going to have a different moral outlook compared to an atheist. Someone's views on reality will influence what they think constitutes harming someone or violating someone's freedom and equality. What someone thinks is morally right and wrong is going to be influenced by what they think is factually correct and incorrect. Factual claims about the universe are more important than moral claims, as morality exists within the context of reality, not the other way around. Morality as a concept did not exist in reality before life evolved, but more specifically before social animals evolved, or maybe before humans evolved, depending on your definition of morality. Morality presupposes reality. Reality does not presuppose morality. The relationship between reality and morality is one way. Reality influences morality, while morality has no influence on reality. The closest beliefs can come to influencing reality is having someone's perception of reality be changed by beliefs. Reality itself is uninfluenced by beliefs people hold about it. The dynamics of relationships exist within reality, so having a shared understanding of reality is necessary for holding yourself and others accountable. If Anna and Bob are to work out who is lacking in solidarity, then they need to work out who is making a correct factual claim, as their beliefs are influencing what actions they think are right and wrong. Both Anna and Bob need to justify why they believe what they do regarding how sickness spreads. For the purposes of this example, let's assume that the germ theory of disease is correct, and that Anna has all the evidence for this belief that we have in our world. Anna has solid justification for their claim that germs are real and that behaviors need to be influenced by this claim. Bob has pretty much no valid or reliable evidence to support their claim. This means that Anna is correct in saying that not washing your hands with soap increases the risk of getting others sick, and thus it is necessary for one to wash their hands with soap to maintain solidarity with others. What does Bob do in this situation? If Bob is sincere in having solidarity with others, Bob takes the idea that they hold a belief that is false seriously and seeks to understand why others think they hold a false belief. Bob engages in the process of challenging their belief, and Bob stops holding the belief when they understand why it is an incorrect belief to hold. Following this, the actions Bob makes are informed by a more accurate conceptualization of reality. If Bob does not change their belief, if they are unreasonable and incredibly stubborn, they will continue to think acting in the way they have been is consistent with solidarity, and Anna trying to get Bob to wash their hands with soap is Anna trying to become an authority, rather than Anna having solidarity. However, Bob not changing their belief does not change the fact that their actions are harming others. Bob maintaining this false belief is an issue for those around Bob that they will need to deal with. This is one of the key points I am making in this essay, that being unreasonable in beliefs that you hold and maintaining beliefs based on poor rationale is to lack solidarity with other people. If one has solidarity with others, then they need to seek to be as correct as possible in their beliefs, and when made aware that someone disagrees with the belief they hold, they need to critically reflect on it. To hold yourself accountable for harming others, you need to understand what beliefs you hold or held that led to your actions that harmed others. This means that to hold yourself accountable, you need to try your best to hold beliefs about reality that are correct, so you are better able to understand how your actions affect others. If Bob had never been exposed to the idea of the germ theory of disease, then their actions would reflect this. Bob not knowing how reality works in this regard decreases their understanding of how their actions affect other people. Bob learning about the germ theory of disease allows Bob to make actions that are informed by this understanding. Bob cannot be blamed for harming people when they have had a false understanding of how reality works. Bob thought they were acting in line with solidarity until they were exposed to the germ theory of disease. They cannot be blamed for this, but you can blame Bob for maintaining a false understanding when exposed to criticisms of their belief and evidence in favor of other positions. Beliefs inform how we view the world and the actions we make within it, and so, accountability requires not just a change in actions, but a change in the beliefs, values, and attitudes that led to someone causing harm. It is for this reason I see people who say things like, "You have your truth and we have ours," as people who are stating their non-desire to hold themselves or others accountable for harm they cause. Beliefs like this are not consistent with having solidarity with others. Not being able to admit that you are wrong is a primary reason for people being harmed, as if you cannot be convinced that you are harming others, then the only way to stop you causing harm is stopping you with self-defense. People not holding themselves accountable requires their victims to either continue dealing with being harmed or start fighting back. Accountability requires the capacity to be proven wrong or incorrect. There are two reasons I believe that the endless pursuit of knowledge is required for a society to maintain a culture of accountability. Firstly, the more we know about how the world works, the better we are able to be consistent in our moral values, as we can more accurately understand what actions cause harm. People who seek a continuous process of learning about how the world works will continue to learn things about it, test new theories, and disprove older ones. As their knowledge grows, they will understand more accurately what does and does not harm people. Secondly, people having a shared understanding of how the world works means they are able to come to the same conclusion about what constitutes harm or solidarity, as long as they share the same moral values. People who hold two different beliefs about reality are not capable of working out a conflict between themselves. Someone who believes in bad air and someone who believes in the germ theory of disease are incapable of working out a disagreement unless they can come to an agreement on beliefs about reality. A culture where people desire the endless pursuit of knowledge is one where people are able to hold their beliefs up to appropriate scrutiny and change beliefs when presented with solid justification to. A culture like this will lead to a shared understanding of how the world works purely due to the fact that people hold their beliefs accountable and seek the most accurate beliefs to hold. I believe that in order to have sincere solidarity with others, you need to be able to hold yourself accountable, and that to authentically hold yourself accountable, you need to be able to be convinced that you hold incorrect beliefs while seeking to hold correct beliefs. It is for these reasons that I think anarchists, or those who broadly desire a world where everyone holds themselves accountable, should desire the endless pursuit of knowledge.